So this is always going to be on like this. And your gearbox will bring down for these. So every now and again you want to check for updates. It's already up to date. I've already checked all that for now. Register machine, we'll go through that when we're all done with everything. Restart tablet, that's a soft restart. But once a month, like did you see me holding down the button there for about 30 seconds? You want to do that like once a month. A good hard restart for your tablet is always a good healthy thing. Because it'll actually help with redoing Windows drivers and stuff like that. All the rest of the stuff really doesn't do anything much unless you have a problem where if you hit support connect, then the office can remote in and find out what's going on with your machine. This is in case if you want to switch it to Spanish, then everything's spelled in Spanish now. And then now you can turn your machine on with the virtual power. Alright, so first we're going to go over with machine settings. Okay, so rapid strokes. Right now it's no. So that means with rapid strokes, between each stroke, when it says no, it's going to drop in between each stroke. Okay. Basically, your tables are lift up, print, drop. Tables lift up, print, then drop. That's the rapid strokes is turned off. But if you have it on, now the wheel is going to stay up and it's going to hit the both strokes twice. I'll put it in motion for you.
Okay.
So we got one. We'll put 2 strokes here. Now you hear that noise? Once you switch out those, you won't hear that.
Okay.
Yeah, that just means you're not getting enough air at once the way you should be.
Gotcha.
So anyway, we'll do it again. Okay, this is rapid strokes, no. So you see the way it dropped after each stroke. And now we're going to turn it on yes. Now it's going to stay up for both strokes.
Okay.
And that's really what you want to do is always stroke it twice without flashing it, just because it's always good to have a little bit more exposure time with your squeegee to t-shirt ratio. That way you won't get any refibrillation, which is the chunky look on it.
Gotcha.
So that's what that does. Okay, the next thing is advanced flashback. Now what that'll let you do is if you wanted to print your white and flash it again. So with advanced flashback turning on, now it's going to tell you to print your flashback mode to print, flash. Now print, flash is for running mode only. You won't be able to flash with it like that then. So basically, when you do that, so you come over here to your flashback, you'll turn it on, and then you'll turn your auto flash on. So when it said print, flash, or print, flash, print, when you table up and down is when it's going to flash. So that's how your flashback activates, is off of a snap action switch. So basically, I'll show you with this real quick. So that's just flashing once. So like if you're, so anytime the tables go up and down and you have this engaged, it's going to flash.
Okay.
So if you look under here really quick, you see this hook? See that right there? See that hook right here?
Yep.
That engages your flashback. You see this thing? It's attached to your flashback. So when the tables drop on that switch, it's going to activate your flash.
Okay.
Okay. So every now and again, I mean, you might have an issue with those or not. Just saying, like if it's not engaging, sometimes you need to bend that up a little bit further to make sure it's engaging correctly. Otherwise, it just won't do anything. It's the same right here on the front of your flashback as well. There's another one right here if you see it. So this one will engage here to tell it to go backwards. So if you get stuck up here, that means this isn't engaging.
Okay.
So it needs to be engaged in order to say, hey, I'm on my way back now. So we'll if you take a look at it really quick while I do it, you'll actually see it happen. So you see there it is. That's going to engage here. See?
Okay. Yep.
So that's how this works. So it's not really connected to the machine's computer or anything. It's just set up off the switches and that's it.
Okay.
All right. So you can flash normally when you're here, but like I said, the center mode here for print flash is for running mode only. Okay, because otherwise, if right now if I table up and down, it ain't flashing now, unless it's in this mode here. Okay, so always check to make sure that that's correct if you intend on doing whatever you want to do with it. But like I said, this is when you're ready to start running and you're putting advanced flashback mode in, you've already got all your setup, you're all ready to go, you're ready to put shirts on and start printing t-shirts.
Then it's time.
So when you put it to here, you're going to put it to print flash. So then when you come over here where it says advanced flashback, yes, okay, we're good to go for that. And you want to make sure there's 3 strokes on number 1 because we're going to print, flash. It takes a while, don't get me wrong. But you get tired of standing there watching, it's like, okay. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that for you now. Oh yeah, gotta turn print on, otherwise it ain't gonna work. I don't have the timer set up. I figured it would do that. Okay, did you see it try to come out and go back in really quick?
Yeah.
That's because I don't have the timer set. See how it's at half a second dwell? Basically, before you start with any kind of flashing, so when it goes out to flash, you're going to time to see how long, because it all depends on how, like, you know, how fast your ink flashes. Okay, how you're going to manipulate how fast it goes in and out. Okay, so you're going to have to manipulate these, extend and retract. And once you find that good, happy medium to where it's going to flash good, that's when you're going to time it now on your smartphone. Okay, so then you'll come in here and you'll put the stopwatch in. So then you'll table up and down, and whatever time that you get out of this on its way back, and you know the whole shebang, you'll put it in your timers. So 9 seconds, we'll say. So now you'll come over here to your timers, and now you're going to put the 9 seconds in here. That way you're telling the machine that, hey, you have to wait this long in order for the flashback to do its job. Otherwise you're not flashing. Otherwise it'll move in the middle of flashing if you have this set. Like if it takes 9 seconds to flash and you got this on full auto mode, and you got this set for like 4 seconds, in the middle of the flash you'll be like, all right, let's go, you know, and it'll take off and it won't flash anymore, you know what I mean, because you're doing it too fast. So you gotta match the timer, the index dwell, to your flashback. So now when you go in there to do advanced flashback, now it's going to do it. Okay. Oh. I didn't hit the right thing. That's okay. I didn't go print flash on the flash. Now it's going to do this whole thing 3 times.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh yeah, 9 seconds.
It's a lot longer than I thought it'd be.
Yeah. Especially when it's not doing anything, you're like, what's it doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll put it to print flash. Sorry about that. Got that on? Yes, it's on. All right, so now it'll work the way it should.
It's okay. It's only on video.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. They'll say, hey, this is why that ain't working, because he made the mistake. Now it'll flash. So, there's your last flash after your print, flash. So that's advanced flashback mode. All right. Okay. So you already know this button. You've already used it. If you don't want to move these by hand, you can actually hit manually index right. That's if you don't want to.
Okay.
It's the same thing here, except you got to hold it down for 3 seconds. Okay, so here's your indexing mode. Right now it's on 1 times, which means it's going to print every pallet. So let's just say if you didn't have enough money to buy all 8 sleeve pallets for this machine, you can come here and put it for double indexing mode. So now you can put a sleeve pallet here. It'll skip this one, sleeve pallet, skip, sleeve pallet. So you can put 4 sleeve pallets on here and still make it work. So it'll print, skip, skip for double indexing mode.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. Okay, table up, down. Obviously it's the same thing as these ones here. Okay. The same thing there. So here's your orbital mode. This is your programming mode now. So let's just say if you're doing a really touchy, kind of like a 3-color job that you need to flash on every color and you can't wet it, you know what I mean? So you got to spin around multiple times. So you can come in here to orbital mode. Don't ask me what batch mode is. I have no idea what that means. So you're going to have to call the office for that one. Hey, I'm honest, dude. If I don't know nothing, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to make it up. That's how it is. Yeah. So here's how many, okay, so this is how many cycles you can go around if you want to. So you can go around 6 times if you wanted to, and flash each color if that's how you wanted to do it. So we'll just do for 3 for now. So your first one, you're going to touch number 1, and you're going to put 2 strokes on number 1, and it's going to flash. And then it'll be dry. And let's just say if we want to skip number 3 because we put it in the wrong printing order. So instead of taking that screen down and moving it around, you can actually just come here to program mode. And now we can come in here and hit number 4. And you always want to do see that lightning bolt right there? Mm-hmm. You always want to do a flash time to unload. Okay, now this is the kind of the confusing part. You don't put the 9 seconds in there. You're only giving it a reason to go up and down to activate that switch. So you're only going to do 1 second. Okay, because you're telling it to flash time to unload, okay? Flash time to this machine is using a print head to flash, not using the flashback. Okay, so like I said, you're just giving it a reason to go psh, psh, and then activate the flash on every turn. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, it's not going to flash all those colors you want to flash, and it's going to start wet hitting everything. So after each rotation, you want to make sure you put a flash time to unload. Because otherwise it's not going up and down, it's not activating your
That
flash.
trigger.
Pause. Okay, I can actually be pretty loud. So, on your next cycle, you're going to hit the cube. So now, it's going to skip all this, and now we're going to hit number 3 twice. And now we're going to come over here to a flash time to unload again, just to flash that color. And then we'll go to number 3 and put our last color down, and then another flash time to unload. And now when we're ready, we're satisfied with our program, we're going to hit set program. And now it's going to follow everything you tell it to do. Okay, now, here's the confusing part, which I don't know why it was designed this way. It's a software issue. So, on regular mode, not orbital mode, when you're ready to put your last shirt on and finish, when you hit finish, your shirt's going to be underneath this print head finishing. But with orbital mode, you hit finish here. I don't know why it's like that. It should be the same spot for both modes, but it is not. So when you're running normally, like we're probably going to do it running normally, but like I said, you're going to hit finish here underneath this press, underneath head number 1. But when you're in orbital mode, you're going to be pressing finish here on the load station.
Okay.
So that's, don't ask me why, but that's how the software's set up. I know I printed a bunch of boards, so that's how I think. I'm like, that's right, finish is there. You know, so that's how I learned, the hard way. So, anyway, all right. So, when you come back in here, though, I mean, even if you hit cancel, will it actually? No, it won't blank the program. You hit cancel. So what I do to blank the program, just turn the damn tablet off. It'll blank that right out.
When they say turn it off, you just mean turn the...
Yep, just the virtual power off. Yep. So, as you can see, there's a fresh program in here. Okay, so... Okay, whatever. Anyway, timers. That's, again, the index dwell is how long you're going to let the flashback do its job for. So you're going to adjust those speeds until you find a good happy medium to where you're going to, I mean, after you start running so many shirts, you can start speeding it up because your pallets are going to start getting warmer and it's going to flash quicker. But that's like 200 or 300 shirt job. You know what I mean? It won't work for 25 shirts.
Okay.
So, safety timeout. So if you, every time you walk away from the machine, you always want to put it manual. All right, you don't want to leave it in full auto, or you don't want to leave it in with pedal with auto. Whenever you stop, you always want to go to manual, because otherwise, if you're leaving in running mode, your whole screen's going to go black, and it's going to say safety timeout. All that's letting you know is the 2-minute threshold has been, you know, is there. So you have to reset it, go back in there, and do everything else. But it really doesn't do, you know, anything. It's just letting you know 2 minutes have been reached. Right here, the flood chop delay is how long it's going to wait before it floods. And then it's going to wait a half a second before it chops and frees. Generally, you never want to mess with those.
Okay.
Warm pallets, all that does is just basically you have to set your machine up for a flash. Basically, you can actually take that flash and put it on head number 5 and use it. So what you do is you come in here to number 5, and where you see where it says flash head, we'll make that a flash head now. So instead of printing, it'll just flash. So if you, so now this is where I said it's actually connected to the machine, because the quartz flashes plug into this thing right here. So that's what that's for. But you can still put that under there too, though. So if you wanted to flash for 8 seconds, so we come in here, and now it's flash. It won't print no more. So now it's going to stay up for 8 seconds. You lose a print head, but you gain a flash head.
Yeah.
So if you want 2 flashes, which I recommend for this machine. I recommend 2 flashes for this machine. If it were me, I'd have 2.
Okay.
Because that way you can flash here and flash here. That's less times you got to spin round and round in order to get a nice, pretty print. You know what I mean? The more flashes you got, the better, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's what that does. But like I said, you got to take all this stuff off, and you got to take the whole front of this off. Which I'm going to show you how to flash in the up position with your flashback as well. But we'll do that, you know, after we're all done when we get to the flash. So, but anyways, like I said, you can turn the flash head off now, and then now it's print head. So now it says print. Alright. But anyways, when you hit warm pallets, you'll have that set up for a flash. Otherwise, it won't do anything. You gotta set a print head up in order to be a flash in order for it to warm pallets. I generally don't worry about the warm pallets because you have a flashback. Warm pallets is something you want to use for a quartz flash or that kind of flash. That way you warm up your flash and your pallets at the same time because they kind of work together on flashing your garment.
Okay.
So the hotter your pallets are, the quicker you can flash. So it's like if you got warm pallets, you can bring down your flashback time because the pallets aid in the flash. Okay, so play shirts, all that does is put shirts on all the machines. Remove shirts, it just takes the shirts off. Advanced settings. 4.5 minutes. Well, anyways, yeah, you generally don't want to mess with any of these. We're going to put that on there, though. No, we don't have to wait for the flood on table, though. And here's your total indexes on this machine, which is 928. And here's your print arms. That's where they're all plugged into your motherboard on the top. Now here's your maintenance page. Okay, so after these numbers here count down to 0. Now once they hit 0, you're going to have a little icon right here. It'll say perform maintenance. And you'll touch the icon and it'll take you to this page. And then it'll tell you what you're going to have to do next. And then once you do it, you'll hit perform. So grease the top center shaft and index arms. So right here, if you look in between number 1 and number 2, you'll have your grease nipples here. You got a grease gun, the machine comes with a grease gun, you'll just plug it into that nipple and give it a few pumps. Same, there's 2 more down here at the very bottom. And so you'll just plug that grease gun in there and you'll give it like 6 pumps per nipple. And then you'll just table up and down, spin it around to kind of spread that grease out. And then you'll do it 1 more time and you should be pretty good.
Can you say one more time?
Like another 6.
Another six, okay.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
it ends with 6 up top too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, put 6 in every nipple, and then like I said, you'll spin the pallets around a few times. You know, maybe put like a ghost head on it, hit print start, and just let it print and go up and down and spin around. And over here is your indexing arm. So if you see right here, you'll see all that grease right where your index arm glides back and forth on top of the base there. So you see where that grease is right there? You'll just get some on your glove and you'll just wipe it in that area,
Okay.
just so that smoothly goes back and forth the way it should.
Okay.
I know it doesn't say it on the tablet because they figured it is not needed, but I still think it's needed because metal on metal without grease is never a good thing. I don't care if you got bearings or not. So what I would do, I would take just a little bit on your glove. You know, you don't have to smear it on there. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. Just wipe a little bit of grease on every one of these because right here, these go up into a channel here. This is what makes your registration possible.
Oh, okay.
This channel here. So as you can see, when the bearing goes up in there, you know what I mean? They roll a little bit. So I would rather you grease that just so it won't rub your forks away too much. Because I've been in there where people haven't greased their forks at all. And there's actually a new channel in there that rubbed it away. You know what I mean? And that's not cool. I was like, I looked at that, I was like, no wonder you're not holding registration. Holy crap. You can feel the difference of the channel.
And you want to grease each of the bearings?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, just a tiny bit. And you don't have to worry about greasing the forks because once you start going, those
Right.
bearings will grease them automatically for you.
Okay.
Okay, check your fan shake on your flashback. That's over here. You got these covers right here
Okay.
from the show. To get to this one, just get a wrench and just take these 2 screws up out of here, and this will lift right up and out without having to get that damn 90-degree screwdriver. Anyone ever use that? It sucks. I hate that thing.
I haven't.
So yeah, you just take this up and out, and you can get to these fairly easy. Cleaning them's fairly easy, but after a while they start getting old and brittle because of the heat factor around this whole thing. So my suggestion would be going to a hardware store and just getting a whole roll of new screen for a screen door.
Just cut it.
And just cut it out. Exactly.
Okay.
So that would be my recommendation. Or if push comes to shove and you don't want to buy any of that, you can use old screen mesh if you want. That does the same job too.
All right.
Chicken compressor in your chiller.
That's on
Whatever they
me.
recommend, that's all you.
Yep.
Basically, I would definitely drain that at least once every 6 months. Like open up the cap down at the bottom and let that drain out. I mean, I know there's like an automatic drainer thing on it like that, but
Uh-huh.
I still don't trust automatic stuff. I would still do it myself to make sure that all the moisture and water's out of there. Let me tell you a quick story real quick. So I went to this one guy's thing, and he was, there used to be a print shop down the street where he never drained the water out of his tank. Well, completely rusted out the bottom of it, and one day it shot through the roof of his building. He goes, it was the loudest thing I ever heard in my life, man. He goes, it landed in the street. It went through the roof.
Okay.
So that was
So
it.
drain it. Got it.
Yeah.
So unless we want to delve into aeronautics.
Yeah, it sounds good. We could be moving in a year and a half, so if I can time it right, like that's, we don't have to move it out to the front door. So,
Okay, check your flashback reflectors. That's these right on top here. Basically, you just want to make sure that they're not all corroded with lint, stuff like that. Any kind of possible fire hazard. To clean it off, I would just use like something non-flammable, obviously, and non-corrosive, and just give it a wipe. Like I said, you just don't want all kinds of stuff piled up on top of it.
okay.
And then after 500,000 prints, call us to discuss possible machine calibration. And that one, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, because we're expensive. At least the travel is, anyways.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ridiculous traveling, man. My goodness. I mean, it's like $1,200 for travel.
Oh.
That's all planes and hotels.
The
and
hotels, yeah.
everything adds up quick, man. So here's your status. Okay, so if you have something acting wonky and you don't know why, this is a list of all your sensors on this machine. So as you can see, you'll see the table position sensor going on and off right here. See? Just like your print head. So you got two of them on your print head. So if you see that one disappear, now you'll see another one light up. Okay. So if you got something that's not exactly working right, go to your status page here, and then figure out. A lot of times is just a sensor.
Okay.
And then if it still isn't working right or printing correctly, it's just all this machine is all signals, which is nice compared to a Sabre, because it could be a motor issue with a Sabre. But this one, there's an Ethernet cord here, and it goes to the top of your machine. So all you would do is just feed an Ethernet cord, plug in the circuit board, pull it in. That's if the Ethernet cord goes bad, and they go bad from time to time. Not all the time, but very occasionally I've actually had your guy replacing an Ethernet cord. Otherwise, yeah. Okay, so now into the print heads. Obviously, turn it on, turn it off. Play shirt's nice because, in case you accidentally, print a palette, you don't want it to print the rest of the colors on that palette too. Just come in here and take the shirt off. That way, the rest of the way around, it won't print that anymore because it knows that there's not a shirt there anymore. Back in the day, we didn't have that option. We had to hurry up and get the tape off, put new tape down before the damn thing cooled. Because see, you have a flashback. Where quartz flashes are very sensitive to the temperature, and if they're not up to temp, you ain't flashing, and you're just gonna wet hit, and you'll hear sticky sounds. It's a nightmare. So you had to go through that whole thing really quick before the machine cooled down. So yeah, it's always a nice thing to have. Okay, it's 3 strokes. You can put as many strokes on this thing as you want. If you wanted to put 999 strokes on this bad boy, you could do that. Granted, it'll stroke all day, but yeah. Okay, ink type plastisol, or you can have water-based. The difference is basically it'll sit in this resting position right after it's done printing. Water-based, as soon as it's done printing, it'll flood immediately.
Okay.
Because that's what water-based does. You need some more time to get it in the screen to have no big print. You always want to have it flood width index. That way, when it's moving here, this is moving at the same time.
Okay.
So if you have it after, it'll index first, then it'll flood, then it'll print. Which is a good time soaker.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, the only way I see that having any function is if the ink is super runny, so you don't want to flood that screen until the shirt's underneath it, basically. because it'll sit there and it'll start dripping through. I've actually seen that with clear coat. It's a mess. Flash head, we already went over that. And then here's your setup actions with your print or your chop. Your chop you're never really going to use because all it does is just chop your choppers. But print, it'll actually print. So if you want to walk all the way over there and just hit the print button, you can do it right here from the console. Print on, obviously. Now ready to print. Right here's all your printing options. Sample print. So if you wanted to print one sample of the shirt that you got set up, you can do that. But I don't know. I'm a guy who likes to walk around and print and watch it print and make sure all my squeegee pressures and everything are good. So I never use that. But pedal with auto. So now that's the only time it moves is when you hit this pedal. Full auto. Now you're stuck at the mercy of the machine, and now that becomes a pause button now. So So whatever times you had, like for instance, like we already have a 9-second dwell setup on this machine for the flash. That's what we time the flash out to be, was 9 seconds. Right after that 9 seconds goes, it's going to move all on its own. So you got to make sure you keep up with the machine if you got it set for higher speeds. But you can only do so much and so quick with the dryer being the way it is. So you could probably end up speeding that up if you really need to. But anyway, so these are all the running modes. And before you begin any job and you're ready to start running and stuff like that, hit the reset button. If you hit emergency stop and you take it off, you got to make sure you hit the reset button because it won't do anything. Now, right now, it completely cut itself off. It's like, no, I'm not doing anything until you hit this reset button. Now it'll be like, all right, I'm ready to go now because you hit the reset button. Set job count. So if you had like 500 extra large shirts that you don't feel like counting all out, it's all the same size, just come in here. Here's your set job count. Here's your set job count, 500 shirts. Now it's going to count all those shirts up for you. And on the last shirt, it's going to say stop or finish, or continue or finish. And then you hit whatever, and it'll do whatever you want it to do. So it'll count all the shirts out for you. But of course, it's kind of, negated because if you have 5 different sizes in there, even if you do set the job count, you got one missing, you still got to count them all out because you got small to extra large.
Yeah.
So
I like the feature though because we just have several checks and balances. That when somebody calls and so like we miss a shirt, we have 5. That's a 6 to say at least at the end of the day the machine said it was 110 count. Yeah. So that's not a
it should be there. Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course to get rid of the 500, just go back to set job count and hit check mark for 0. And now it's zeroed out again. No
okay.
What was the? Because I saw the button that said reset counter.
That's just to reset the 500 count.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I tried that too.
I was wondering.
I was like, all it did was reset the counter, but it still kept the 500 in there.
I got you.
So that's
it
all
sets
that.
it back to 0.
Yeah,
It still counts up to 500. Okay.
That was my assumption as well. Reset job count. To me, that would reset it back to 0, not 0 out of 500. You know what I mean? So that's all that does. That's why I said go to set job count and go to 0, and then hit check mark, and it'll zero that quantity out of it. But this will be your full check, your print count. Right up here will be how fast you're going and how many cycles you printed out today. And once I give you the software and everything else like that, you can actually check in on your machine and see how many prints it did that today if you're in like Tahiti or something like that. So just make sure those guys are working.
Okay.
So you can do that as well.
Okay.
But all they'd have to do is turn the Wi-Fi off and you wouldn't know shit.
You're not supposed to say that now. That's something we talk about up front.
Sorry. Okay, so if you need more off contact now, so say, I gave you 1/8 of an inch, which is pretty darn good for t-shirts and sweatshirts. But then again, you do encounter those sweatshirts that are really, really poofy, like Bella Canvas, that suck the print. So if you needed more off contact, that's underneath here, right there. So there's three different settings. That one's all the way, okay? Right there's middle, and right there's zeroed out.
Wow.
Okay.
All you do is kind of push down like that, and just
Oh,
kinda
okay.
move it like that. So that's your off contact there.
Sweet.
This is your detent, just same as that one where you know you're in the correct locking position before you hit start. You always want to make sure it's like that because that's your table position sensor and there's play in it. I don't like that, but there's play in it. So you see, it's at a position now. If you look at your fork and bearing ratio, it is at a position.
Yeah.
And now it's going to lift into your forks, it's going to smack those forks, and it might push your registration out. So you always want to make sure that you're in that ball right there. So now you see you really can't move it too much. Okay, so we'll come over here to the flashback really quick. Okay, so you'll turn your power on here like that. And this is your auto flash. This is activating it so it'll go in and out. Excuse me. This is the heat button here. So you're now going to turn your flashes on. So now they're going to start heating up, getting ready to flash. These are your speeds for your extend and retract. This is your flash table up button, a switch. So you want to be careful with this one because right now we're flashing the table in down position. So if you're flashing in the down position, you actually flip that up. When it goes up to print, it's going to go and it's going to smash into your pallets, and there's going to be a big mess, and everyone's going to freak out. So make sure that you're in the correct mode before you go ahead and do this. I generally put something like tape over this, so in case it accidentally gets hit, it ain't going to go nowhere. So if you're going to use it for flash table up, then take off your tape and put it in the
Okay.
position. Okay, again, print flash for your flashing modes. Print flash, that's for advanced flashback running mode only, and this is for print flash, which I never use because I like print flash, because 2 strokes getting your ink into the fibers of your shirt to make a really nice flat print that's how I print.
Okay.
I never hit it once. There are some people that hit the base white once and they're like, oh, we just want to print it. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, must look like shit, but okay. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I know it works. You know what I mean? So, but to each is their own. I mean, hey, that's the way you want to print. That's how you want to print. Okay, so now I'll show you how to move this over to number 2 to print in the flash in the up position. So, what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to put this up against that. I do this because I just don't want it to move. It ain't going to move because you're going to have it set for print flash in anyways. But I just still have to be cautious. So anyways, you're going to unplug these like that. And this is how to do the same thing on number 5 with your manual flash. This is the same difference. Take this plate off here. I always kind of feed these in here. Then you're going to do these. No, come on. And then you're going to undo your rollers here. And you'll roll it out. And you'll roll it over here. Put it in number 2 right here. Then this teal handle right here makes it go higher. Okay? I mean, it's a little crooked because you got a giant dip in the fork. Holy shit. Wow, look at that. Anyway.
The whole building's that way.
Wow. So anyways, yeah, that's how you even this out is with these here. So you'll unlock these and
Gotcha.
like if you look here, you can actually see the way it's sitting on the pallet. Like it's really crooked compared to the pallet. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to level these out with your pallet, and you always want to have your thing go probably about that far above the pallet. and this is how you lift it up and down. This is your crank here, so you got to loosen that.
Oh, okay.
And then you'll make it go higher. Okay, so I'm not going to level it out because I'm going to put it back on number one. But basically, when it goes, so then you'll activate this for flash table up, like that.
So, in what occasions would you want to do that?
Well, I like it because let's just say if you got a one color white, you know what I mean, for like maybe 400 shirts that you got to hurry up and get out, you can shoot the white twice. That way, this will be printing, that'll be flashing, and your other white will be a printing on number 6. So instead of print, flash, which you'll be waiting forever for it, you'll be print, flash, and print, all at the same time. So that'll speed up your production time big
Gotcha.
time. So that's why I like that. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Just because that kind of flashing is just so much better to me because I never had a flashback. I never had nothing like that. I only had quartz flashes, which took away a print head like that, and that's all I ever had. That's all I ever worked with.
Okay.
Until I got this job, I like, what the heck is that? Never heard of a flash or even seen a flashback before. But anyways, so at least you have best of both worlds with a flashback. You can flash table up or flash table down. So then, when that happens, then you'll come over here, and now for number 2, you're going to make it a flash head now. And then you'll put it for, whatever seconds you want it to flash for. So then when you're ready to use that now, so now you'll hit flash now. So you see it's flashing. See?
Yep.
So that's how that works. And that's how you would do that manual flash on number 5 if that's the way you wanted to do it. So what you would do is you'd take all the front off the way I just did, and then you would table up, and then you would put your flash in there. And then gauge how far you want it away from your pallets. And then for however long it needs to flash for, would be what you would put it into the machine for.
Gotcha.
So that's how flash table up works.
Okay.
But like I said, make sure that you got it in the correct mode with this, because you don't want it to table up and flash while you're flashing the table down. Okay, another thing about the flash that you need to know is if you end up moving it, make sure you're about a fist distance away from your micros there, so you can still use them. And then that should be right about there. Okay, so if you come stand right here, now you see the black box? The black box can't hit this when it goes past. So you want to make sure that this goes out.
Okay.
Now, if you look here, there's a bolt that bolts on your wheel. You want to make sure your wheel doesn't slam into this either. So you want to make sure that you have it in the correct spot. Otherwise, you're going to have some issues. There's so much strength in here with this, it'll start pushing and lifting it up. So you want to, watch what you're doing.
Okay.
So, and here's a bad habit that I'm going to show you. I was told not to show people, but I like it anyway. Instead of tabling up and down to activate the flash each time, you can just go. See? So if you just up down real quick with that toggle, it'll activate your flash without having to table up and down every stinking time. But that's a bad habit. They might leave it in flash table up mode. Well, it won't activate the flash if you don't put it back down. See, look. Nothing. Not flashes. All right, so yeah, I don't see how that's a bad habit. To me, I like that function. That's just me. So that's it for the flashing. And let's see what else I can tell you. Oh, we'll go over the print heads real quick. Print head questions. Okay, so we'll come over here with this one. Okay, so here's your squeegees and plug bars lock. Here's your rear clamp. Here's your front clamp. These are your speeds for your flood. That's your flooding. This is your printing. The thinner the line, the slower. The thicker the line, the faster. This is your print button. This is your table up down button. This is your table movement button, index button. That's about it. These are your safety cords. It won't do dick with these being, detached. You already know what micro wedges are. Best way for me to learn micro wedges and do it is feeling it. Don't look at this. You're wasting your time by looking at that. What you do is when you're moving your micros, put your finger up against the part that moves.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can feel it move as you turn
Okay, I see.
it. Because, yeah, this is the part that moves. So, and to add pressure to your prints, that's what this is for here now. Okay, so as you see going up, you're adding more. Okay, so the more space you have here, the more pressure is going to be. When you start seeing it going down, the less space you're taking the pressure off. These are your angle movements right here. So if you wanted to print a specific angle, you can undo these and do whichever angle you want to do that's on here. Myself, I'm always a guy between 10 and 15. To me, that's a good because you see it's coming down right on the edge of the squeegee because it's at a small angle. Because it'll come down straight on that edge and print. Instead of being more where it's more towards a flat edge, I don't like doing that because it doesn't really hit the edge of the squeegee. So that's why I say between 10 and 15 is a good
10, 15.
good ratio for it to come straight down on that and just print.
Okay.
Questions?
So with adjusting these, so there's a push. So if you push that, that activates the flood.
It just spins.
Okay, so they only, okay, so I see there's a top one and a bottom one.
That's a locker, so it doesn't
Perfect.
doesn't do its own, but I've never actually seen these self-adjust because there's pressure behind these. So that's up to y'all, but I never ever had those locked.
Okay.
Never.
So it's just,
Okay, so when you're adjusting your front stop, you never want your front stop like that all the way up against like that, all right?
Okay.
You always want to put your thumb in there. So you put your thumb in, push it up against your thumb, tighten it up, and that's a good distance where it's going to stop. Because if you have it all the way up, flush up against your screen clamp here, it's going to go all the way up against your screen clamp and probably maybe touch the front of your screen.
okay, and when you're talking about this,
Okay.
you mean right here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So that way it'll stop a little bit before the edge of your screen, because basically it'll start pushing down right where your frame meets your mesh, and it's going to start pushing your mesh out and pulling that glue out. So you want to put a little bit away from it. That way you're not ruining your screens.
Okay.
Because I learned that, I was like, oh my god! I'm like, did you see how close that is? Because I mean, I'm used to motors and sensors, not actual springs and cylinder arms. So I get used to that, but no big deal. I think that's about it. Good?
I think so.
All right, let's get started.